So here in the Ozarks, the name of the game to me in the fall is really just covering water, you know, putting your trolling motor on high, putting your head down and fishing. You can do whatever you really want. I mean, you can catch fish shallow, you can catch fish deep, and you can really throw about anything you own and catch a fish. So there's no magic answer in the fall like there is other times of the year. You can throw a topwater, you can throw a jig, or really, I mean, anything. It just comes down to covering water, finding the bait, finding the fish, and just, you know, executing and going through numbers. So another thing that I do a lot of times in the fall and early in the morning is get the boat really close to the bank. You know, I'm maybe 10, 15 feet off the bank right now, and depending on the situation, I'll get even closer to the bank. It just keeps your bait in the strike zone for a longer period of time, and it definitely improves your odds on getting a fish to commit to your bait. You know, you can see that bait is in the strike zone almost the entire way back to the boat. You know, and you don't want to give up on your cast, because those fish will get behind this and they'll kind of shark it, they'll follow it. And so as it gets close to the boat, a lot of times they can sense that boat and it makes them feel like they've got something to pin the bait against. So a lot of times your biggest bites, or a lot of your bites, are going to happen right at the boat. So never give up on your cast. Make sure to fish it all the way back to the boat. Something super important when you're up here trying to make this topwater bite work in the fall is really keeping your eyes open and being aware of what's around you. You know, if say I'm practicing for a tournament or something and I think that a topwater is going to play, one thing that I'll do is, you know, you don't want to go down the bank and catch everything that's willing to bite. So what I'll do is I'll go down the bank with the trolling motor, I mean literally on 100, and what I'm doing is I'm looking for those big shad. So if you can go down the bank and spook them, you'll see those big, you know, 10, 12-inch gizzard shad up here on the bank, and that's what those big bass are foraging on. So what you'll do is you go down the bank and cover a ton of water looking for them, and then you just come back and fish those same banks, you know, come tournament day. Because that's what those fish are keying on, that's what they're feeding on, and if you can find those, you're gonna find the fish, quality fish. Something else that I do in the fall that I try and use almost as a momentum tool, or you know, just to get the day going, or even if the day is not going so good, is targeting these dock corners. A lot of Kentuckys and smaller fish use them to feed, and you can catch big ones out here too, but really all it is if you're missing a fish, you're missing a keeper, or you just need to get some momentum going, you can target these deeper docks, you know, fish that are suspending off the corners of these docks, and all they're doing is they're using them as ambush points. So they'll sit there on the corners of these docks, and the more wind and the more sun we have, the better these corners really are, because the fish can set up there in the shade where the wind's blowing and there's a lot of surface disturbance. And what happens is they use that to ambush shad as they swim by. So, God, dog it. There's one. Kentucky. Nice keeper spotted bass on the crocodile head knocker. You know, that's not what you think of when you think Lake of the Ozarks, but a lot of times in the fall, one of these comes down to winning a tournament and losing a tournament. So they're important to have. 12-inch keepers on this lake, and you know, there's a lot of times I'd be really thankful to have that fish right there. That was a big one. That was a big one. Catch him later. There. It's a little black. It's not a keeper, but there's some fish in this creek, so we moved to the back of a creek and just missed a great big one and caught a little short, so we're gonna keep plugging away, and eventually you're gonna get the right bite. There's one. Come here. Come here. There we go. That is a keeper. It's a nice fall Lake of the Ozarks bass, shallow. Croc Gator X-Bite, 3/4 ounce. It's a black zoom horny toad.